Am I audio? Sound is check one. Hello.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So you can put your mics on mute. Thank you. So hello everyone. Someone phone. So hi. And so I thought so I would request all of you to interact because I got very less time. This will be a very short PPT. I'll try. It's more of a informative kind of PPT, so nothing too much. But I will request all of you to interact because I have a few interaction points here, and I don't know if you all can see the screen. I don't think so. Again? Okay. So let's start with the basic. So I'll talk a bit about design first, then I'll gradually move on to human interaction and user experience. So first, I think the basic question is just a second. So yeah. So I want all of you or any of you to answer what is design, like according to you all. Anyone or everyone. What do you understand by the word design, or what rings when you hear the word design of any kind? It doesn't have to be specified to UI UX art or anything. It can be anything. What is design?
Design maybe sometimes appear to us as there is some context, or if I say very generally, what appears design to me whenever there is some information. Maybe I just can write some information in bunch of just anyway, and it does not make any meaning to anyone. Now, if you just for some matter you just present it in a proper way, that we can also refer it to a design. Or in case of art, there I can give some color papers pen, but it does not mean a design. Design to me appears as when you make a beautiful, attractive looking, I don't know what to say, lucrative attention drawing phenomenon, so that we can look and it. That appears to me as design.
Okay.
It can be anything totally like you design. It can be anything like which is you can see it's your imagination. Like if you can think of something, I think how you would imagine it and to look better or represent it to someone else is something which can be in the design. In a very short,
Can I say?
Very technical.
Yeah, please, sure.
Basically, the design is a plan which we use to invent and develop for a certain particular purpose.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Please, can you repeat once?
Actually, it is a plan for a particular purpose. We use to invent, show creativity in that.
So, okay, so I got the two terms: imagination, plan, creativity, graphical representation, a lot of things. So, basically, what broadly you can classify as design is communication. Just communication is Just a second. Why is it? Hmm, cross check with that. Hmm. So design is communication. So the very first form of design was probably cave paintings. So anything and everything we used to communicate. So even this font or any kind of language or any typography or anything is communication. So the basic purpose of design is to communicate. And yeah, one more thing that grabs attention, because communication is everywhere. Everything is communicating something or the other. So what grabs the attention and is easy to understand is design. So communicating in the easiest form is design. Okay. So getting that like out first, what design broadly, very broadly, what design means is communication. So now we'll get to what is human computer interaction. So this is like Human said in his last meeting, he'll type and he'll find 3,400, 700 articles here on Google and he'll get this definition. So basically what human computer interaction is. So in before computers were made, before any kind of digital exposure was there in the planet. So we had typewriters, we had manual, we had analog things, we had abacus to make calculations, but things were working. But human when computers came into play first, so it was 1940s, 1950s when it was starting out. But human interaction basically came into play when in late 1970s, when practically Apple and Microsoft was starting out in 1974. So when Apple started to make their first personal computers, so people started using computers on a very personal basis. Previously, it was for large manufacturing companies, large offices that were doing computing data and stuff. Now, when computers are in home, each and every houses. So as the first UX architect like ever, so was Don Norman. So if you all have some design idea or have read about Apple, you would know Don Norman was the first UX architect hired by Apple. So what Apple asked him to do was to make something that was user friendly. And the thing that at that stage it was very limited to how humans and computer interacted and how things went about and how easy it was to use. So he coined the term user experience for the first time. So when he brought, like if you go on the internet, you'll find his video probably on the first page. He broadly classifies UX design as the whole experience. So he has a very good video of himself where he says when he first joined Apple in 1993-ish, he was asked by Steve Jobs that, what do you think is the problem? There's IBM making huge computers. Microsoft was trying to push softwares and trying to make their own computers as well. Apple already tried a few times and failed a few times. So this was the Macintosh was the first successful wide scale computer that Apple could manufacture and ship out. So after that only Don Norman was hired as only for 4 5 years. And when he was asked what was the problem, he said the whole experience is the problem. So the experience is not only the product, not only the software, not only the way you're using it. It's a whole thing. Like you go to the store, you buy a computer. It's firstly huge. It does not get into your car. Anyway, you push it into your car, get it home, open the box, and then you see multiple thousands of parts lying around, and you're scared. I don't know I'll be able to put it all together or not, work or not. So the whole experience gives you whatever it gives you does not gives you pleasure or does not give you the feeling you have now. So now you buy a Apple laptop, you just open the box, open the lid, it's on. You don't have to click anything, you don't have to touch anything else. So that is where the experience has come down to. So it started then. So this is just the definition that you'll find anywhere. So I'll not describe that. If you want, you can read it, or I'll share the PPT later on. So this is the shortest history probably, and this is the same thing I just said. 1970s and 80s, when personal computers started to make a place, started to get into houses, people started using it in college libraries, and these were still expensive. These were really very expensive. This is the first Macintosh that probably the company Xerox. We call it Xerox. The thing is not the Xerox. The company is Xerox. So Xerox first came out with the concept of mouse. So this is the time where people were, you know, psychologists and scientists and architects and designers and engineers were coming together to figure out how people can work on such things. Like, how will it be easy? Why do we use a QWERTY keyboard? Why do you need a mouse? What does a pointer do? Why does the screen has to be graphically good looking and all? So this was a gradual stage of evolution. And if we actually do a bit of in-depth research, I was just seeing a video like 10 minutes ago. So this user experience is not only limited to softwares or computers or mobile or whatever. Not digital era, I'm saying. It dates back to early like Rome and Greek and ancient China, where people used to design their homes. We still do. Why do we hire interior designers? Just because the ease of having things around, and they're not just placed around, they're placed for certain reasons. You just don't put a sink in the middle of the kitchen, but you can. No one is stopping you, but it's not usable there. Rather than a table or a island table would be preferable, because you can keep things on that, you can eat on that, cook and do. So everything comes down to how you use things. So every interaction is basically, it's maybe the says computer human computer interaction, but every interaction is an example of user experience. Okay, so next slide is the evolution. So this is the era. I'll just go through the thing. This is not very fun, but yeah. So pre this evolution, before this digital thing came, but we still had typewriters. Germans, people in the Second World War, they still used Enigma. If you have seen the movie The Imitation Game, it's a good movie, you should see. So they used Enigma. So there were computing things that were made and people were using it. But after 1980s, when the first computer or the first graphical interface or first screen came on, because previously before that we had machines, we had a lot of things, but we didn't have a screen. We didn't know, we didn't have an option. So there's this very famous UX saying, I don't remember who exactly said this, but the most important and the most viable function of any digital media is the ability to undo. So you do an action, you can just revert back. On a print, on a typewriter, on when you're writing, you can't. If you want something to have completely clean, a page which has no errors, you might have to, if you're not very good at it, you might have to like type 10 times, 20 times, 30 times before you get that completely right. Digital era made that very easy with a backspace. The Apple calls it delete. But yeah, after this, I know this says this shows an Apple Windows software, but this is the stage where Apple came in. Apple was the first major player in the personal computer space, and their Macintosh was much more like, if you have any of you, like most of us I think use Mac, and we, if you have used Windows at certain points, we have a lot of user accessibilities and loopholes. You can go to the command prompt and do a lot of things, but Apple does not allow you to do all of that. But still, Apple has a very user friendly and a very seamless user interface, especially if you're inside the Apple ecosystem. So if you're using an iPad, an iPhone, and a Mac, or an Apple Watch, so you'll find it completely synchronized. Everything is very well designed, very well synchronized. Even the earphones, which does not have any display, the touch controls on the earphones is exactly the same touch controls you have on your iPad, on your phone, and the touch bar. Previously, the version before this, we had a touchpad on the MacBooks. So the function, the usability, so the familiarity of the whole ecosystem is what Apple focused on from then. So if you take the first, if you see the first iPhone, probably so okay, I'll come to the first iPhone and I'll discuss this. So this was 1990s and 2000s. The website and the web era came. Orkut gradually was building, and Facebook was in its building stage, and everyone started using the web. Everyone started to get on the websites and tried to make websites. So this is what it looked. We have come along a long way on experience and usability and ease of access and finding things. So I remember in my college days, it's like not very bad, but when I was applying for colleges, so I went to each and every college website, and I had to wait for the scrolling thing to come to find which is the notification that I want and click on it, and then it is to come. See, this is the thing. So I had to wait for it. So my time was not valuable to them, and that was a process. Then that was not. I'm not talking about like 15 years ago. I'm talking about like 5 years ago maybe. And now when I see, they have search bars, they have banks, they have question banks, they have forms bank, they have update notification banks. So it's much easier to find because things are clustered, and that makes it easy for the students, easy for anyone who is using it. So the more developed we are getting, we are reducing things. So there's this I don't know, maybe I've seen it on Instagram or somewhere, but there's this theory about white space. So if you see all of this website posters, you'll see a lot of white space. White space does not mean white blank space. It means blank space, just empty space to breathe for designs or anything to breathe. So having no text around giving back helps us read giving back properly, right? So it all, like, the more we have previously. So once my I was working, like I was not working, I was at home, and once my father said, I need to make a poster. So this is the size, it's 3 by 4, and can you help me make it? I said, okay. So I said, what is the message? What do you want to say to the poster? So he said me a very common thing. It's like admission open and something. So I just wrote that, and I wrote the time and whatever the process is, very small, in a very small fonts, and the main message in a very big font. And he was like, there is so much space around. Put other things also. Put an image, put this. And I said, okay, this will just make it, more clustered. And people won't be able to read it from a far distance, because you just make it more puzzled up, and people will see a lot of things from a distance. And he initially didn't understand. Later on, when he did print it and people couldn't read it, then he understood. So it we have all, like, everything and anything, we have come through a long way, and we have learned a lot of things through experiences. So people making, like, mistakes and passing it on, that this is a mistake, don't do it. So we learn it that way. So this is the probably the largest and the most uh, you know most wide thing that changed everything about design. The first iPhone that was launched. And yeah, that I was talking about iPhone, right? So the first iPhone you take and the latest iPhone, the 14 Pro Max, whatever it is, put both of them side by side, you won't see a lot has changed. Functionality wise, it has, power wise, it has. But the interface, you see the picture here, and you take an iPhone and see the same thing. It's 4 by 4 grid. It's 4 apps, 4 shortcut apps in the bottom, all 4 apps on the top. There's a status bar on top, same, giving the notification. It's the same. But they have removed the button, but they have added a bar which acts like a button. So the seamless and continuing trend of continuing a specific design trend, that what it helps is user familiarity. So a person who has used the first iPhone in 2007 and is went in coma in 2006 8 and is again alive now, if you give him an iPhone 14 Pro, he won't or she won't have a problem in using it, because it's the same thing. But in the same place, you take a Nexus 5 and you take the Pixel, I don't know, 7, I think is the latest. you will find hell and heaven difference. You won't see anything. It's transparent status bars. I don't know, things going out, coming in from here and there, and every device, every manufacturer has a custom skin on it. Samsung puts a skin, LG puts a skin, Motorola puts a skin. So the experience someone uses has using these devices is not, it's not like, if you're not very tech savvy, if your grandmother uses a Android phone for 5 years and again you upgrade a phone, they will have a huge problem understanding how the phone works. They're accustomed with the colors of the icons. They don't see the icons. They know green means call, green means message. So the familiarity is also important. And now we are in this era, and Shuman understands much better this era. But yeah, now yeah, I'm exploring out VR and augmented reality UIs. But yeah, this is the new thing that will happen, and gradually a lot of things will change. This is the first device Apple has launched for consumers to use, the Apple Vision Pro. And I think probably in like 10 years, everything else will be a very augmented reality, because it's much easier to use, right? You don't have to carry a device, you don't have to carry a thing. Probably you don't have to wear such a fat, big goggle kind of thing also. Maybe it's just a glass, because Microsoft is already working on a Surface Glass. Yeah. So this is probably the future of UX, where it will go. Okay. So yes, now the next question. What is UX design? Anyone? Yeah, that's a full form. What? What do you mean by UX design? Like what? Like how? Like if someone asks you, what is UX design? How will you, like, in the most layman and the most basic term, if someone of like age 70 asks you, explain me user experience design?
So how convenient it is to find an option on the menu and how to persuade buyers to go for the buy button and how we can manipulate the traffic towards that. And overall, how difficult, how it is very easy for me if I want to make a call, I have to in my phone I have to click so many buttons and I have to understand so many things. Rather than if I just say call someone, which is kind of also a good relax.
That
Easily solves the purpose.
okay.
Or guideline.
Sorry,
Guideline.
guideline. Okay. So okay. So this, I had fun making the next slides, and I hope it'll be, the easiest way to, I think the one of the easiest way to explain how UX design works. So like I said, it's not limited to softwares, it is not limited to apps, it's not limited to anything. Basically, it's just the whole experience. It's a problem, it's a solution to the problem. How effective is a solution? You have a problem, you have solutions, and you will get 10,000 solutions of the same problem, but which one is the most effective solution? So okay, I'll go to the next slide. So what is this? Yeah. Yeah. Do you see any problem in it? What is the problem? Okay, so that I didn't get graphic for, so I didn't have that much time to erase this line off. But anyway, yeah. So there are two roads in the desert, and you probably don't know which road goes where and how long is it, and how long will you have to travel to find out where it leads to. Yeah. So if someone comes up with this problem, there's two roads and I don't know which to go, so there will be an experimentation, right? So someone or a group of people or some whatever will find out where these roads lead, and they'll probably come up with some solution. Right. So now at least you have an idea where these roads go and how long I have to travel to end the like reach the end of the specific roads. But yeah, it did solve a problem. It was a solution. But what if it's late at night? Boards aren't visible. So now it's useless kind of having that there. If we increase the fonts also, will it be visible? Yep. So now if we put a reflective material, because this is road, so now you figure out that if so no one is going to walk on this road, at least if it's at night, no one is going to walk at this road on this road without a light. So buy a car, the car will have headlights or a torch. If I don't know if unless that they're drunk.
No, even the lights in the phone.
Yeah, there are no there are no street lights.
They don't know.
Exactly. If there would be street lights, maybe the sign would be still readable. Since there's no street lights, so probably someone, whoever is there, is going to carry a light of any kind. So any reflective material would might help, at least better than the other one, the last one. So does this satisfy in the morning as well? It does still. So this is probably one of the more effective. Like it's not the perfect solution. Maybe there could be a screen which would light up with solar power and would be much better. But this is at least a better option than what it had. Previously, it had nothing. So this is the easiest way I think to explain UX design. So you have a problem, figure out the problem, then come up with a solution. And it's not end. It's not the end. You figure out how to better the solution. So that is UX design. This is the user experience that a traveler, whoever is going, a rider, whoever is going, this is the experience he'll have. That wherever he goes with the car or the bike or whatever, he can see, he knows which direction to go. It's a very minute and a very subtle change. It's just the material or just a like bar with two wooden planks, but it makes a lot of difference for not for you, for the user who's using this. So what is UX design again? So this is again the definition, which I am not interested in, but still, if you want to go, so I'll hold it for 5 seconds. So yeah, I like the words here that encourages adaptation, retention, and loyalty. So if your design is that simple, if your design is that rememberable, then you will probably use it again and again. So there are apps that do same thing. So what I was doing is I was working on Cream FS PPT for client presentation or something. So there's a page where there are customer reviews, and I was reading that because I needed to shorten that up and compress because there was too much text on the pages. So I wanted to shorten up the content there, and I was reading through the yeah. So I was going through the reviews, and what I found there was a specific review. I don't remember the name. I think it was from a Delhi-based company. I'm not sure. So what their review was that after using 4 different apps or softwares, for the same purpose, I got QMFS. And since then I haven't like looked for something else. So probably something was wrong in all four of them. All four of them did the same thing. So because he was looking for that specific service, he was looking for that thing only, right? So the softwares he had purchased or subscribed for before were obviously serving the same purpose. But what did CreamFS do better? That's the question. And if it did better, then why can't it be improved like more? So that what that does is encourage adaptation. So this person will recommend like 5 other people in the same industry. They will retain the same thing because of the experience they are getting, because of the service, the support they are getting, and they'll be loyal to it. So someday, if a company comes with probably a better or a similar, serving capabilities, still, if you are good enough, this customers which you have will probably stay loyal with you, because you saved them at that point when they didn't have anything else. So most likely, at least, the as for the ratios, around 60 to 70% people don't like change of anything. People in general don't like change. Only thing that's constant is change. So loyalty does come through, good experience and good behavior of any kind. It's not only software; it's of any kind. Okay. So this is the basic thing. This is the process that we go through. The same thing I described with the that desert image or whatever. So there's this continuous process of change, you see. So first we have to discover what the problem is. So these are just the processes how we use to discover. Like we use to, identify the problem. So we define the problem, and after we define the problem, we come up with plans. We have ideas, whatever it is. It's everyone. It's not me. It's not you. It's everyone who come up with solution. And after this ideation phase, we figure out what can be, how do we make this movement and think better. So after the ideate phase, we come to design, and this is a continuous process. Designing and ideating is continuous process, because once we ideate, we design. Once we're designing, we figure out this isn't working, or this can be made better, or this is very good to be here, this can be placed somewhere else. So again we go to the ideate phase, and again we design. So this is a loop in itself. It's not a loop is a wrong word, but yeah, this is a continuous process. Now after the designing process is done of any kind, we go to the testing phase, where the users, anyone, team members, anyone test the thing, and they find flaws. And the best thing I heard, I don't remember exactly, but it was an interview, I remember a long time back. And the interviewer said me that you have to take criticism very positively, and never fall in love with your design, because your design is going to change every day. And you might like the final version after 10 people have changed, suggested 10 changes, and you might like the 10th version, which is not even your, like 80% it's someone else's contribution. But after that, there will be a change. So it's never fall in love with the design, because it's a continuous process of development. It's continuous process of growth. So if you see the Facebook UI from 5 years back or 10 years back, and the Facebook UI now, so probably the Facebook UI designer back then should have been fired long back. But that was the time, that was a need of the hour. So we adapted that, and we have adapted the changes that are coming on now also. So every criticism, specifically on design basis, should be taken and understood very positively. So this is just the whole thing said. Yeah. Now, I don't want to go into this, but because if you just type you and I, or you and on the search bar of the Google search engine, this is the first thing you'll see probably. UI versus UX. So it's not that complicated, yet it's very complicated, to define the difference between UI and UX. So broadly, if I say, UX is figuring out. the solution, and UI is basically putting out the solution in the most effective or the visually appealing way. So let's say this is the skeleton. If UX is the skeleton, the muscular system is UI. If the body is UI, then the brain is UX. So both need each other to work, and both are different. Both are not same, yet both can't work around without each other. Okay. So this is again stats. You all like can look through the same thing probably in a much complicated terms, I guess. So yeah, go through that once if you all like want to. I think the next slide would be easier to,
Maybe you can go to the next slide.
next slide. Sure.
And here is,
Yeah, I'll share the PDF. So yeah, so this is very much easier, to understand. So this is the right hand side of the screen is what the UI designer does basically, and the left hand is the UX part. So it's the same thing that I said. There's user testing, there's data analytics, there's site mapping, user satisfaction. We review users and get feedback and see how well they receive the thing. Sketching and whatever, prototyping, collaborating is again the same thing, interacting with other people to figure out what the problem is, because there's always a problem. There's nothing that's perfect, right? So UI is same thing. Output devices, you really need to focus on what is the device that the consumer is viewing or consuming the data or whatever you're showing on. So that the action buttons, what are the call to action. So UX designer will say this is a landing page. Okay, you need to have a CTA, because most likely the UX, yeah, it's a research part, and the and making the skeleton of the whole thing, where UI is just beautifying the thing while taking into consideration the other possibilities that can be. So UX will give you the ingredients that you need to cook a very good chicken curry for, but cooking part is the UI part. So so user controls, tools, and exactly like things at disposal is what is considered by the UI design. Okay, so I think there is a question after this. So there's this number. Yeah. Could anyone of you recall that number? Hmm? So this is a very small example of a UX law that I wanted to just place there. So I'll give you again. I'll give you 5 seconds, 3 seconds to memorize the number. So anyone? Okay. Okay. Let's do this again. Okay. I'll again have 3 seconds.
This is another number.
So let's see.
Okay. No.
Why? So this is one of the most basic laws. It's called the Miller's law. So according to this, human brain can retain up to 7 plus minus 2 characters or anything. So it was exactly 10 numbers before. The before slide also had 10 numbers only. This also had 10 numbers, but the slide before this had all together group, and this one had 3 3 4. So which is a lot easier to remember. So you can remember in clusters. So these are like small things that you consider while working on any prototyping or anything. So there's a lot of similar this laws. There's this book, Laws of UX. If anyone of you like would be interested, so you can go through UX, because UI and UX is very different. UX does not need to be confined to digital things and everything. UI is somewhat confined to a lot of devices or platforms that you're engaged in or using things in, but UX is everything. UX is every experience that you have, even the chair you're sitting in, even the office environment you're in. Everything contributes to the experience and gives result according to that. So okay, before ending this, okay, let's do this. I would like to know from Suman. What do you think is the future of design with AI and machine learning and all of this?
I think whatever so far have been done by your UI UX designer, whatever the daily task is you do every day, that you do not have to do. You just have to tell the idea to the machine. The machine will do it for you.
My idea is that your job is in the
Okay, so in that case,
why you just go to their certain different websites, you just go and ask for UX.
and they'll give you wireframes and they'll give you
So the part is like creativity cannot be generated through AI. AI is generated, but it is trained on certain models or certain limitations.
But their output will be different.
No, it can be customized based on your depends on your prompt, like how
Your
you
customize means your human interaction is required. In
Your
that
prompt
case,
is-
someone is interacting.
your prompt has to be correct. What I'm saying.
So what I think will do is this will reduce the base level or the ground level people who are trying to start out, because you need a UI, you like a UI on the website. There are even tools now, you like a screen, a picture of it, just place it on Figma and they will give you in a fig file and extract that. So that would be an issue, but yeah, the originality would never be can never be copied, never be changed to. Okay, so we'll get to this. It's not only about UI or UX design, it's about design in general. So this is one question. This is the Pepsi logo, the earlier logo and the new logo, and I should have shown this before discussing about the future, but this was changed. This is the new logo. This new logo. This one is the old logo. Yeah. So how much do you think Pepsi paid for this logo design? No, it's not. It's long back. It's like 5-6 years. They had a My Can, right? You remember? My Can Pepsi. That was the time this logo was launched. They wanted to redesign their logo. They redesigned. They went to an agency. So what, like, any idea? Like, I just want to, like, a rough guess of what was the price they had paid. Quoted to is different. Hmm? Exactly that. Now this. How much do you think this is? Everyone, we know about this at least now. So how much do you think this costed? So Twitter is now X. So Elon Musk is not sure now, right now. So he has again changed it back to, for Android users, he has changed it back to Twitter. So he's not sure. He'll be sure when he's on moon, but but so this is, I don't know how, but how much did he spend? He lives in a 2 BHK apartment. So how much do you think he paid for this upgrade? Anyone? Any guesses? Any other guesses? He took it from a free source website. And you say he didn't pay one single anything. So this is the direction we are going. Someone paid for that change 1 million, and for this change, I don't know why, but still this change 0. So yeah, like we discussed. Yeah, obviously, logo is something, it's very emotional and yeah, sure, 100%. But yeah, logo is something that is saying it's emotion, right? It's an emotional connect.
If he is this company, then only that emotion will come.
So he is the buying, selling, whatever is.
He is not that much bonded with that. Why he will waste his money? He already thinks that he already has to. Yeah. Point of
Now what he is doing is firing employees and doing whatever he's. Anyway. Okay. So before ending this, one more kind of, I think, interaction exercise, which I think you all will do or like, but sorry, just a second. Okay. So final question. What is a good design?
For me, if someone gives me the
Anyone else? Anyone else? What is a good design? Okay. No personal grudges. But okay, I'll give you the answer. You all have kind of supercomputer in your pockets. You all can figure out, I guess. You have the answer. Yeah. You'll have phones in your translators, and yeah, you can just scan it and you can find whatever it is. Google will help you in that. That is what machine learning has took us to. It'll at least figure out what the language is, and it'll ask you what language you want to switch it to.
Take a photo of words to translate.
Exactly is it.
So yeah, so what Abhishek said, good design is like a good joke. So if you have to explain it, it's not good enough. Right. So the best design you see is the design you don't see. Right. So you go to any place. We don't have it in our office, but we always have. Mostly we have a pull and push sticker stuck on the glass doors. Do you notice it? Is it important? It is, or you don't notice it. So good design is invisible. You can't see good design. Be so much into your. We don't have. We have that line, so it doesn't push this way. So yeah, I think I'll be finished. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Akash. So I have just few questions
Yep.
for you. So here, I think a lot of people are here who are working in content, right? Most of us are working in content. So what happens? The problem comes whenever, say, we are giving the design. Say you are drawing anything in Figma and you're just giving the developer. Then
Mhm.
how they convert that design to specific HTML and CSS, whatever it's, they have to give it a web form, like whatever you are designing, they have to give it a web form. So sometimes we see like even after giving the design, whatever is there in the design, it is not matching with the
Exact thing, yeah.
exact. So what are the points that one has to keep in mind so that it matches at least 90% matches, not like 60% is matching, 40% there is a
Basically, I
mismatch.
think we need to standardize our.
No, I want to get something.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. We need to standardize the way we are doing. So Figma has this almost all these features so that you can use things as like you can use a rectangle as a div or a section. You can have positions as absolute, fixed, or relative. So these are the things you can have. But now the thing is we have to standardize a specific process that we'll do. So maybe it's a box within a box, and then there is a product photo, and there's a product name, product description, and the price in a horizontal format.
No,
So-
even before doing that technical part, I want to tell you everyone that how to see a design,
Okay.
how to visualize a design. That is also not happening. I
Okay.
see.
So
You
that's
see, you design something. Okay, there is that much space, there is that much space.
Mhm.
But when it comes to reality, that space is gone. Something the fonts are not matching.
okay.
There is the different icon sizes are different. There is not proper lines on
Alignments and stuff.
That is
So that
that
is
is how to visualize the design.
so visualizing design is a tough concept because it's design is open to perspectives. See, if I like something, I might like one of them and not like one of them, but someone else might like it might be vice versa. So it's very difficult to understand. But if it comes to proper implementation of a specific thing that has been done, that has been designed, so I think the major issue that comes in is different screen sizes we work on. The responsiveness comes into play. So maybe I have done it on maybe I have worked the prototyping on a suppose an iPhone whatever model, and then we are developing the software or the app for a Android device. So the screen resolutions change. What Figma will do is Figma won't export it in RAMs. Figma will export it in pixels only. So when a developer grabs the code from there and pastes it here, so what happens is if an icon is 5 pixels by 5 pixels, it's 5 pixels by 5 pixels for a screen that is 120, 1280 and 720, and a screen that has like 2400 pixels into 1900 pixels. So for that 5 pixels and for this 5 pixels hugely vary. So that is one issue that we need to uh, rethink it that way. So if something has, we need to make a ratio of the whole thing. So if a display, we consider display if it has 20 pixels padding on each end of a card. So 20 pixels might not be same for every device. So there should be a ratio that if 20 pixels is here, that we have to standardize sitting together or figuring out. If 20 pixels is done in this device, this means in this specific screen sizes, this 20 pixels is 15 or 35 or 45. So we need to
So
standardize
you have
that
to work with the ratios,
ratio.
not the exact value.
No.
So sometimes what happens like in Figma probably will get the CSS right on the right hand side.
Yeah, but it'll come in pixels. It won't come in RAMs.
Yeah, so in pixels only. So sometimes what happens, the developer they copies that specific pixel value. They tries to just replicate what is there, but it does not.
It does not. It won't come
because,
exactly.
because the screen sizes vary.
And the position values also differ depending, because that day I was trying to give you the HTML thing of that. So the position was, it was absolute there, but it was becoming relative when it was exported.
What it does, it directly converts the means, design size, height, width, and all those things. Directly converts that much pixel into the
Yeah.
HTML.
So that we have to work. That we can't work on pixels then, because everything every day something has changed. We are probably we will be from Monday we'll be working on the good book thing. So later on, maybe not now, but later on, 5 months, 6 months, 10 months, 1 year down the line, we might have a login feature or punch in feature on the what You can have an app that works on the Apple Watch or Android Watch. You can log in and log out from there. It also has GPS. It also can track you, and it's easy to access, easy to use. So in that case, we'll have to refigure out the watch interface and the pixels and the whatever the features. And because Apple, the problem with Android is, I think the major problem with Android is they don't have any. After Android 13, they are trying to standardize the whole thing, but Apple has a whole human computer interaction page for them. They call it HID or something, human interaction design. They have a whole page on the website for developers, designers, and separated.
Google UI also.
Google has started after Android 13, I guess. Material UI, right?
The material was there for a long time.
Material UI is also.
I haven't
not,
seen a
uh,
standard.
UI is there.
Android Lollipop is there.
Okay. I haven't seen, but Apple is very specific about how a app should should be used, and how anything and everything should be.
Google UI standardized.
No, the thing is, no, the material UI is there, but there is no standardization. Like developer is open to use any style that they want.
Apple restricts a lot of that.
As a developer, you can do anything on the Android.
Android, since it's an open source
That's why
program,
you will see a lot of creativity in app also. A lot of different type of app comes in Android.
so wait, in that Apple gives you restrictions but controls your experience. But Android does not give restrictions, gives you free
So let's-
creativity.
Let's not make it 100%.
Yeah.
No, but we cannot think about that spaces and means the conversion.
We need to work on REMs, like so.
I had earlier I had given you one library for that standard
Flow byte. Yeah, I saw, but it also comes out in pixels.
What is happening?
I haven't used it. It's paid. It's like $299.
So that you can talk.
$299.
Which one?
UI kit
Or
for development, basically UI kit for development for Flowbyte, I guess, or Flowbyte.
Means the components, ready components are there. If you use that, then
why I will buy Flow Byte? I will buy Tailwind components.
Anyway,
It's for Tailwind only.
No, it's Tailwind, but I will directly buy from Tailwind only. Why will I go to third party like Flow Byte? It's not required. Tailwind also they have Tailwind UI, which is paid.
if we can use, if you can buy UI, then
That is best.
It will be best because
But
they themselves have that model and all those things.
Everything is there. I was also planning to buy that one because that is something which is
before
required.
that, we need to check. I think because
I think anyway,
and all those things, there's some JavaScript and JavaScript is required. So are they support those?
Yeah, of course. If they will give library, then they have to give the JavaScript.
Then it will be easy for us also.
you can explore that. If you have the link, you can share it and see that thing.
Okay. Any other questions?
Any questions?
Any questions from the online audience? Online audience is silent.
Is anyone there still? Any questions?